And good afternoon, racing fans. Welcome to Hawthorne Racecourse for Thursday afternoon of Thoroughbred action. Jim Miller and Emily Gullikson up here in our mezzanine level studio on a gorgeous Thursday here in the Chicagoland area. Sunny skies, temperatures in the 70s, fast main track, firm on the turf. As you see, we're 27 minutes to post. We want the first to go right off at 2:10. So we sped things up just a couple of minutes today. But when you're wanting to kind of fall in line with everybody else around the country, for us, if we went on our normal time, we would have been on top of a couple of tracks. So always good to go a couple minutes earlier and be ahead of the game. But it's a great card today. It's a great card on Sunday. It's always nice when you can have the month of October, 70-degree temps and no moisture in the air.
Yeah, absolutely. And as far as the time, I like running on time. I'm just in general, I'm just kind of one of those people that I love that today we're going to go post time at 2:10 and have the horses go off at 2:10. Just to me and my kind of regimented life, I'm like, all right, I like it. And I think also playing too, when I'm playing simulcast all over, it's very helpful to be like, all right, I want to make sure I don't miss. Yeah. I don't want to miss race 5. I have some ideas in there, so knowing exactly when that goes off is very helpful for the simulcast land.
Yeah, and you're going to see those East Coast tracks wrapping up relatively early. I think there's only 8 races at Belmont today. You have Delaware, Belterra wrapping up along with Laurel Park, and then you have us and Horseshoe Indianapolis will be staggering throughout the course of the day, and then Woodbine jumps in a little bit later in the day. So enough action for the racing fan out there, but again, a really good card here at Hawthorne. So let's jump in and take a look at the 9 race card today as we're going to kick things off on the grass. 7.5 furlongs on that firm turf course here. 2-year-olds in the opener. It's a field of 8 to line up for race number 1. Emily, right now we're looking at the 4 Taunting from the barn of trainer Chris Block as your current favorite at 2-1. The other Block runner, Executor, at 5-2 right now. Both expected to take their share of action.
And both are very logical in here. They're coming back off decent efforts. Executor ran a better than looked effort, projected to improve, making that wide move. And as far as number 4 Taunting, not a bad effort in their first start either. Extremely competitive, had some trouble at the start, and then made a move and a big gallop out. Should appreciate the added ground in here. And for a barn that's obviously capable with these type of runners, so no surprise on that front. But looking at the exotics a little bit, I think the board can change. Number 2 Cutlass King is taking some money, and even some sneaky money in number 8 Buzzsaw. When I gave a look to, is on the outside. Is currently sitting at 20-1 on the board. Tim Padilla sit on a very live runner last week and chasing the 1, opened up with a lot of early money, then drifted up to go off at 9-1. Has every license to improve off the debut at Canterbury Park. Not the most ideal ride. I think this one has more to show. Yeah,
and we'll see. Right now at that 20-1 price, we welcome Constantino Roman back into the Hawthorne Jocks Room as he rode at Canterbury Park throughout the course of the summer. He'll be aboard Buzzsaw today. I did go to Cutlass King in here. This one from the barn of Armando Hernandez. I thought ran a decent race in debut at Kentucky Downs because, again, that's a very quirky turf course. You're able to split the field. That was a quality field in that spot. Come over here to Hawthorne today, maybe find things just a little bit easier. Inside draw at 7.5 with the short run into the first turn, and maybe Cutlass King. It's a horse that could put forth a good effort, but we'll get a good look at that field again as they head over to the paddock for the opener. Race 2 today goes a 1 mile and 70 yards. Is in the second. You get $5,000 claimers with that field of 7 to line up. And it's nice to just see a straight open 5. No conditions attached to it. Just you're in for 5, and that's it. And it's a competitive bunch. Millard's Smile should be in the mix. Christmas Present, of course, Kozan Success. I didn't find a whole lot of pace in here. That's why I ended up on Devil Vision. I thought they could be a little bit closer, but I think this could be a very bunched up field much of the way around.
And the optics plot completely agrees with you on that front. It's a very weird pace dynamic because you don't have a lot of horses that are that confirmed front running type, which makes it weird. So you get horses that are typically closers, but horses that have been running at shorter distances. In some cases, they're going to kind of keep it honest, and it really comes into a rider's race. I gave number 4 Devil's Vision a look as well, one that has some versatility in order to work out a trip. And if they do bunch up, look for number 7 Impulsiveness, one that pulled off an upset to start off the meet. Could find a very similar setup in here coming back off the freshening. It could be live, coming back to scene of the crime, so to speak. Opened up the meet with an upset win, looking to close it out with one. So I kind of keyed off those 2 in here, but a very competitive race.
Well, the thing about Impulsiveness, raced it for the condition 5 at the start of the meet, and then was just in much tougher in those next 3. You're finding things much easier here in this spot. Could be a factor as well. Eyes on Deck comes in off a victory in that last, but again, just going to come down to the pace scenario there in the second. It is a very tricky race. Third race on the card, back to the turf, 5.5 on the grass, $10,000 claimers in here. It's a field of 8 to line up in a race number 3. Yo Dog is one that is looking to get back on the turf. They do so today. this is a horse that's been knocking on the door for that first turf score. 9 starts on the grass, 8 of 9 on the board, just yet to get a victory. I think they found a great spot in here.
I think they found a great spot in here. The challenge is so did everybody else, because this race is so tough. I mean, if somebody asked me, like, what's the one horse that you would toss, I would struggle, because every horse in here you can really make a case for. They've been competitive types. So I think you start with Yo Dog, one that stayed in the race 11 days ago, and the races were taken off the turf, had some trouble at the start that kind of impacted the race all around. And again, I would say the only knock is they could just be sort of the default favorite in this competitive event, and that would just open up value on the board. So it's one I know obviously we'll talk about before the race, but I think that's what you could look for, is look for a horse in the paddock and try to find some value in there, because again, who would you toss?
I mean, you can't toss anybody. And to me, there's actually any
crazy.
of 4 horses that could go favored, because Righteous Freedom will take action, Midnight Special will take action, as well as Grand Hideaway and Yo Dog. And then you get a horse like Dragon Drew, who's just been a solid turf sprinter throughout the course of his career. It makes for a very competitive bunch. We'll have to see kind of what the pace scenario is in this spot, because again, some that can show speed, but nobody truly committed to the front. There's maybe 3-4 horses that can kind of go out there and work out trips, but you're right. I do think Yo Dog goes favored, but again, it's no gimme by any means there in the third.
I'll give a look back to Pinballer, who wore the front wraps last out, had a wide trip, and really we've seen this turf course playing favorable on the inside, so maybe there's something going on there, but again, spread.
Yeah, spread race for sure. I agree with you. This is the kind of card that has potential for an earlier late pick 5 carryover for sure too. Race 4 was the only race really hurt by scratches. Take out the 1 Percy, take out the 3 Wilma Mankiller. Each of the trainers has another horse in this spot. So you have Boyce with Beehive, you have Ravelli with Kaylee's Sister. I think Kaylee's Sister is the one that should be a solid factor in here. Beehive's been so consistent. Percy was going to be the favorite, but with that one out, really kind of opens things up a little bit.
Yeah, I think we saw it similar, though. Kaylee's Sister moves up with the scratches, and really the changes of the race complexion. Both those horses, both Percy and Wilma Mankiller, look to have some early speed. Kaylee's Sister's on the outside. She's not a need-the-lead type, but she has class to her, so she can just take up that role. And sitting outside some of the other runners in the field, if they decide to go out and try to wire the field, I think that's an option. If they try to sit off Beehive, for example, they could rate or Alberta Sun, and then get first run, and it's just a good spot for Kaylee's Sister. Slight freshening in here, and has been competitive throughout all season long. Really strong races, just makes tons of sense. Probably going to be a short price.
Probably. Ravelli's had such a good meet too, and Kaylee's Sister, a horse that has been very solid. 6 starts on the year after that really long layoff. 4 victories, 2 third-place efforts. A horse like Broken Hearts Bay, I think, could be a factor underneath Jan Arnett with a string of horses back in here to close out the meet, so you'll see some of his popping up to get that one last start of the meet as well. All right, race 5 today, allowance runners. They go 3/4 of a mile in the spot. You get the field of 8 to line up in here. Miss Miko's coming in out of the state-bred ranks, but so is Devil. But both are very competitive. I think Say Cheese has a shot, Twas Lola, and even Secret Operations ran well. So again, it's another really tough race. Call them all. The second Robertson runner is off a win in a second. Those last 2, it's just another really competitive field.
And it might be one where we're going to see kind of a different race dynamic, where we've had some races where there's really no kind of confirmed front runner in here, and number 2 Miss Miko's has some early speed, as well as number 5 Say Cheese. And their race shape looks like a slower speed race, so having some tactical speed should be an advantage. I think that assists those 2 Miss Miko's in that second start of the form cycle. And as far as number 5 Say Cheese, she's got some really sneaky good form, especially here at Hawthorne, where she's been able to win in the past under similar allowance conditions, and just based on the connections that might not be too familiar with too many players out there, it's not like a Ravelli type runner, should be able to get some value as well.
That's a quality racehorse who's been good here at Hawthorne.
Awesome.
7 starts over the track, 5 of 7 on the board. Could be in the mix. Devil's been so consistent. We talked about how good Michelle Boyce has been all meet long. You go back to Katie Milady facing the boys in the Cary Memorial last weekend, running a huge race. Devil should be a solid factor here. I like that the horse rated and ran on late in that last out. I thought there was a little bit different versatility because he came from a little bit further back. She's done it in consecutive starts. We'll see if she does it again here, but I do think she'll be a factor. She might be a little bit shorter than most, but her and Miss Miko's likely to take their share of action there in the 5th. 6th race on the card, you get maiden 2-year-old fillies in the spot. They go 5.5 furlongs. It's a field of 9 to line up. This, again, is a really tough race because you know Escovedo from the barn of Ravelli is going to take action, but no Tip Tony's been right there. Lady Elise has been working up a storm. I think she's sneaky
She looks
good.
very live.
And,
Yeah,
and
she
I'm
looks
really
very
looking
live.
forward to seeing this field in the paddock too.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about those two,
Yeah.
starting with Escobedo, who does project to be favored because it's Larry Ravelli. Certainly send out some live first-time starters. No surprises there. She worked 10 flat back at the March sale, and March seems like forever ago.
Yeah.
That was the beginning of the meet, so this is a late start for her. And I thought the work when she worked 10 flat was fine. Then she had a gap in the published series of works from April all the way up to the beginning of August. So had that slight setback and probably ready off the string of works coming into this race. The barn will obviously can get him ready to go. But number 8 Lady Elise has that very consistent work tab,
Yeah.
and I think there's intent because we only have 3 days left. And she's an Illinois bred, and the reason I say that is just because those bonuses go away.
Right.
They go away until March.
Right.
So it's one of those that I think you're going to come in very live, hoping to catch the right group and ready to go. In terms of runner, I'm kind of keying there, but getting a look at the paddock will be key. As far as the runners that have experience, probably number 7, Kavala is going to get the most attention, just being a new face in here for the connections. The winner of that September 5th race, Pure Majestic, is the only horse to run back from that race, but ended up running and winning
Right.
the Salima Stakes at Laurel. So that's a very strong performance line.
Yeah, and again, want to get a look at them. And I think Escovedo, the reason you might catch a little bit more of a price is just because it's not those super quick drills. But you get back to that gate work on August the 25th, that's kind of your sign. Okay,
Yep.
got out of the gate quickly. That was the snappy drill. That's the one to look to, as the horse probably should show some speed in that spot. Race 7, $10,000 claimers go 1 mile on the turf. We're going to scratch the 6 Temper Tantrum and the 10 Code Runner in here. It's a field of 8. Sailing Solo is a horse that I think super cool. I ended up with him in this spot, but again, Coliseo could be a factor. Monster in the Midway, Wicked Surprise. So many options in this spot. And then what I found interesting is Armando Hernandez scratches Temper Tantrum, and Bandit Swanson, who's going to be the longer price, stays in this race. You tend to wonder if that's a little bit of a sign as well.
I think so too. I mean, he's a horse that's racing a shape. He has plenty of back class. Let's start there. Tons of back class that would make him a player. He's been racing himself into shape. They took the front wraps off last out, came back with a better than looked effort. Now they're going to rise in class. I just think that's a positive for a horse that's in good form right now. And I have some knocks on number 9 Sailing Solo in here. And really, from a race shape standpoint, he's drawn outside Coliseo, who's got early speed, as well as number 4 Wicked Surprise. Wicked Surprise has been able to steal a couple races. Not going to find that today. And as far as Coliseo, probably one that just has some natural early speed. Talked about him in the past. He's not always the most willing to pass horses, but maybe got some confidence last out. And with the barn that enters 2, Terry Young has Coliseo right off the claim, as well as number 1 River Redemption. Maybe River Redemption can find the right trip, because it seems like that pace could be honest. They're able to save ground, sit on the inside, should offer some value in here. And then as far as Monster on the Midway, I'm not sold. I think he's going to be a short price because of the connections.
Sure.
And really doesn't have any big edge in this field. And,
Right.
if you're looking at the plot, you'd see a circle in quadrant 2, a Monster on the Midway, and the same thing for number 7, Rejection Hurts, who's going to be much longer, just regardless. And then Landmark Deal. I mean, from time to time, he runs a big one, and
When
maybe
half
it
of your
is.
26 starts, you find the board on the grass. Yeah, you know the horse
Yeah.
has ability there.
So-
But again, it's a good competitive race. I think Sailing Solo, because of the outside draw, was actually the reason I went there, hoping the horse rates because of some of the inside speed. I think if you were drawing inside, it would be you have to go. On the
Yeah.
outside, maybe they can kind of see how things unfold and go from there. It's a classy old racehorse, finding a little bit easier. But again, nobody should be a real short price there in the 7th. In the 8th, condition 5, company goes 3/4 of a mile. We're going to scratch the 10, Macar the Fast, and the 12, Runaway Ready. 13, Lawmaker does draw in and runs today, so you get that field of 11 to line up. And again, Emily, looking up and down this field, I mean, Rivs on a Roll is going to take some action. I like Super Fortune in here based off that last start. Kind of start with those two and then work from there.
Yeah, it's another one where you have a lot of horses that want to be on or near the lead, but not necessarily quick. And both those horses fit that role with Ribs on a Roll, maybe the quickest of the two. But then you have the current form of number 8, Super Fortune, coming in. And even Slava Ukrani, number 9, is going to cut back in distance, but maybe that's just the key. It's just, is in form right now and just finds the right trip sitting off those runners. But I think they have the edge. And number 4, Bumper Do, very logical, but you're giving up some recency coming off the layoff, that being the one knock. Another race I'd use quite a few
Yeah.
to start that late daily double.
Yeah, kind of the reason I ended up on Super Fortune was that last race. Yes, you finished last, The winner of that race, Stranger Range, has run well against Allowance Company here this meet and run very well. And you were only 8 lengths behind that one at the wire. This is a much easier bunch that you're facing. Jim Watkins had a very good meet. He always has good, solid meets here. I'm just hoping Super Fortune sneaks off at a little bit more of a price, maybe trips out there in the 8th. And then in the finale, we have $20,000 maiden claimers back on the grass to close things out. They go 5.5 furlongs. Scratch the 5, Miss High and Mighty. That one's re-entered on Sunday. Scratch the 10 at WW Best of Times. Leaves you with a field of 9 in the last. Emily Hugh Robertson has Cupid's Obsession. Wayne Catalano has Ain't No Other. Kind of start with them and work around, but Robertson also has a firster in Pure Hickory, so I'm glad to see they both stay in, though.
I think Pure Hickory could be a little sneaky in here. Very belated debut, racing here as the lone 4-year-old in the field, so has that subtle maturity edge. Long, steady work tab. It's kind of ready or not. Has, we're at the end of the meet. You have all those works. Strong rider in Israel Hernandez has made just some really smart moves in running, winning races on horses that could have easily lost a race without some different decisions. And the barn actually has a debuted 4-year-old filly here at Hawthorne on the turf course called Fudge Brownie back in 2022 that won. So maybe lightning strikes twice.
Look at that, going 2 years back finding that note. I love it. The nuggets are tremendous there. You can get so much information through Emily's analysis. And the optics plot free on our website at hawthorneracecourse.com.
And those notes, which is going to come in key on Sunday because there's so many horses that are shipping in. And I told you I haven't even started handicapping the card because I took all my time filling in all those notes, which I'll need to handicap. But
14 entered for the Hawthorne Derby. Only 12 can run. It's a very good competitive field, like you mentioned. A lot of shippers for that race. All right, that's how we see the 9 races today. Let's flip back, take a look at the field for the opener. Is in the first. We offer Win, Play, Show, Exacta, Trifecta, Superfecta, Double, Pick 3, Pick 5, and Place Pick 8. Wagering in race number 1. We go 7.5 furlongs on the firm turf course with that field of 8. Emily, right now we'll start with one of the block runners. This one at 2-1. That's the 7, Executor. Orlando Mojica aboard this runner today. This is a horse that debuted sprinting on the grass. Gets to go 2 turns in here.
And probably going to benefit from that first start as well as the added ground. Made a really positive appearance going back to that September 8th debut, and then was a little restless in the gate. Showed massive run after giving the field a head start. Completely missed the break. Took some contact there. Continuing to move up and close ground, and just really caught my eye with everything from start to finish. Again, makes a very positive appearance in here. Should just benefit all around. I think that's where you start. Likely to be favored, but off that debut could certainly move forward and compete in here.
Yeah, owned by Richard Perkins, who is also the owner of Vouvray, who we saw with a very impressive victory here against Stakes Company last weekend. He looks like he's got another pretty promising racehorse here in Executor. A couple of them at 3-1 here. The other block runner is the 4. That's Taunting. Taunting at that 3-1 price gets Luis Colon in the saddle today. This one comes in, I think, out of a key race. Baby Boat was a good winner in that last out. Taunting, since that start, has come back with a solid half-mile drill. Maybe rates close in here today, because that's the one thing we've seen of those who have run. There's not a ton of pace in this race.
It always becomes tricky when you get those horses that are lightly raced and doing something new, stretching out for the first time, changing surfaces, like the case of Taunting, who had some trouble at the start, made contact with the gate. It was an open length chunk winner, as you mentioned, in Baby Boat, and made a move, was covered up behind horses, made a move in a big gallop out, and again, just makes a really great appearance in here. Could be getting a little bit warm. I saw some kidney sweat on him, so just keep an eye on that. But otherwise, another very logical type. Seems no worse for the wearers. They're back in 18 days.
Yeah, and that's a good note, though, because it's not overly hot today. I mean, temperatures are in the 70s. It is sunny, but everybody, of course, the hoses are out. They can hose the horses off, but yes, this is a different look, so it's something to definitely keep an eye on there with the 4 Taunting. The 2, Cutlass King, is the one I went to in this spot. This one from the barn of Armando Hernandez. Chris Amy gets the call today. Debuted at Kentucky Downs, split that field of 12. It's so hard because they say 5 wide at the quarter, but I mean, what are you wide of? It's up and down a hill.
Exactly.
The fences are all over the place. I mean, I don't know. To me, that's a little bit of a cop-out comment there.
Yeah.
Cutlass King ran fine in that debut. That was a quality field, too.
Yeah, and there are some common. It's so tricky. Some horses like it, some horses don't. Some horses are taking a swing, some are very live, etc. And Cutlass King was wide on that course, and maybe wanted to be inside. But I think if nothing else, it shows intent for a horse that's been training here to think enough to say, hey, let's run in a $100,000 maiden special weight race and take a shot, and at least if nothing else, we'll come back home and compete here. But I think that's a positive all around, and we'll just see he's going to have to move forward. The race hasn't been overly productive, but only a few horses that have run back.
Yeah, 9-2 on the board right now on Cutlass King. And then the 3 is Royal Bro. Royal Bro is your 5-2 co-favorite right now from the barn of Jimmy DeVito. Comes out of that same race as Executor in that last out. Royal Bro just missed in their Journey the winner. This one was charging late, but another one that stretches back out to go 2 turns today.
Yeah, we'll see how he handles that. I mean, the one 2-turn race is at Ellis Park, where he was covered up behind horses, had the outside draw that day. Tough to really make anything of it, especially it being on the dirt. Now, he ran an extremely game race, had a big long warm-up, made a move, just missed in there. But was at a time that the barn was hot, so I wonder if we kind of saw his best that day, and with some of the others that are lightly raced that could step up. But he is a very sizable horse that the added ground is certainly to a positive. He makes a lot of sense in here. I look towards a new face, but would be absolutely no surprise. I have no knocks.
Yeah, and then one more to touch on is the price play. That's the 8 horse. That's a Buzzsaw. Buzzsaw right now at 11-1 on the board. This one from the barn of Tim Padilla. Constantino Roman gets the call today. And I don't want to see what you were pointing at, but what do you make of Buzzsaw at 11?
I was pointing at, they put up the stats for Royal Bro, and it gave him 73 lifetime starts, and certainly 3 wins. So certainly
definitely
that
has not started 73 times. Yes.
Definitely not. They flashed it real quick. Yes, as far as number 8, Buzzsaw, he's going to make a second start, wheeling back in 19 days from that debut at Canterbury Park. And just was not the most ideal trip. He was on hold early, he was on the inside, made a middle move, and then moved outside to close down the center of the track. And I thought he showed run in sort of a subtle trip. The barn sent out that very live runner. Numbers starting to come down, took some money in the exotics, and project this one to improve in just a second start.
All right, they're heading on the track for the opener. 50 cent, early pick 5, wagering. Good luck.
Coming on the track for the Thursday opener, they'll go 7 1/2 furlongs on a firm turf course with the rail set at 0 feet. Field of 8, no changes. One play show, exacta, trifecta, superfecta. This race starts the rolling daily doubles, rolling pick 3s, the 50-cent pick 5, and the $1 place pick 8. They're operating here. They are 1 Frontier Marshal, Rachel Slavinsky riding. 2 Cutlass King will be handled by Chris Amy. Number 3, Royal Bro, Olaf Hernandez aboard. 4, Taunting, Luis Colon. 5, Heartbreak Game will be handled by Edamar Santos. 6 is Rumbling with Alexi Centeno. 7, Executor with Orlando Mojica. 8, Buzzsaw, Constantino Roman will bring him to the gate. We'll be on the turf in about 4 minutes. This race will be going off approximately 2:10. We do urge you to make your selections early. If you missed it earlier, track fast, turf is firm. And those will be the conditions all day long here at Hawthorne. Racing fans, a little time remains here to wager on today's first race here at Hawthorne, which features rolling doubles, rolling pick threes, the 50-cent pick, early pick 5, and the $1 place pick 8. We do thank you for joining us, wherever it may be across the betting network. We're fast and firm all day today. Rail set at 0 feet on the turf course. We have one carryover pool to report. The 9th race, high 5 carryover, $2,406. This race will be going off at 2:10 sharp. We are close to starting time for race 1. Moving towards the gate, less than a minute, better hurry. Racing fans are at the starting gate for today's first race. Horses moving on to the turf course to begin the loading procedure. Horses are entering the starting gate at Hawthorne. Waiting on Royal Bro. Also waiting for Taunting and Buzzsaw. Royal Bro's in. 2 more left to load. Taunting and Buzzsaw. Buzzsaw will be the last to go in. Field of 8 in the gate at Hawthorne. They're off. Slow start for Heartbreak Game. Spot the field 5 lengths. Cutlass King going for the lead. Royal Bro came away well, moving up along the rail. Frontier Marshal. Then up on the outside, Executor. Far outside, Buzzsaw. In between horses and tight quarters there was Rumbling. Taunting is next, and the poor start has put Heartbreak Game last as they begin their journey on the back stretch. Your leader is Cutlass King. Cutlass King leads on the outside, Executor racing second. Royal Bro right there in third. Buzzsaw fourth, 3 lengths from the leader. Inside, Frontier Marshal. Rumbling moving up on the outside next. Then towards the rail, Taunting looking for racing room, trailing Heartbreak Game. They have less than a half mile to go as they move into the far turns. Cutlass King keeps the lead. And around the turn, Cutlass King the leader. On the outside, Executor second. Royal Bro is third. Here's Rumbling moving sharply on the outside fourth. Buzzsaw is fifth. Taunting trying to advance on the rail. Then it's Frontier Marshal and far back Heartbreak Game. Around the turn or in the stretch, Cutlass King up on the outside, Executor. These two heads apart for the lead inside the final furlong. Royal Bro picks up the leaders, followed by Taunting in fourth. A 16th to go. Executor leads with Royal Bro coming to him, and it's Royal Bro moving fastest of all. Royal Bro takes the lead in deep stretch. Royal Bro won at a length. Executor was second, tight for third between Cutlass King and or Taunting. In today's first race, number 3, Royal Bro finished first. 2, Executor was second. 2, Cutlass King finished third. 4, Taunting fourth. 3724 is posted. It's unofficial. 1:30.70 the running time. Today's first race is official. Running time 1:30.70. More in a moment. Now returning as the official winner, here's 3, Royal Bro. Royal Bro is owned by Double Down Stables Incorporated of Richard Templer, trained by Jim DeVito, ridden to victory by Ola Fernandez. The $1 exacted $3.7, $8.50, 50-cent trifecta $3.72, $17.70. 20-cent Superfecta 3724, $14.08. Today's second race has no changes. Win Play Show Exacta Trifecta Superfecta starts another daily double, another pick 3, and today's 50-cent early pick 4. No changes in race 2, no changes in race 3. Fourth race, scratch 1 per C, scratch 3 Wilma Mankiller. Fifth race, start to late pick 5, no changes. Post time in 21 minutes at 2:38. In all cases, make your selections early. Thank you.
good efforts out of Royal Bro and Executor there on the grass in the opener. Both those horses able to save some ground. A few horses kind of fanning out a little wide at the top of the lane. Not those two. Good efforts by both kind of drew clear from the remainder of the field late.
Yeah, Royal Bro benefiting from those 73 starts must be. No, he had the perfect pocket trip sitting behind those pace setters. Executor being one of those that was fanned out early, broke a little bit slow, then caught wide, and really upgraded because he had to move up to push the pace and stayed on well, all things considered. Their stablemate Taunting came in running on the outside, and then a good effort from Cutlass King, much improved in the second start.
Yeah, good to see that performance. We'll see where these horses head after this. Looking for turf, it might be down to New Orleans, might be to Tampa, maybe Gulfstream Park. We'll just
Maybe
see how
next
things
week.
unfold. You never know. I mean, yeah, it could be on closing week.